let's get right into it. So, you guys want to start off with NFC, obviously. What division should we start off with?
We can start with let's start with North because it's got your team in it.
Let's start off with the Vikings. What do you guys have for the Vikings?
Hudson, go ahead.
The Vikings are a team that have the talent to perform every single year. Like, we can have them in predictions going 11-6, and it'll seem reasonable, and then they'll end up going 7-9 or 7-10 in the past year. But I have them going 10-7, finishing second in the division. I think playing the Lions and the Bears 4 times this year, twice, obviously, each team is going to get them some of those wins. And having a decently easy schedule this year should be able to get them some wins too. Dalvin Cook is a big X factor for this team. If he can stay healthy, that'll obviously add a ton of more talent onto this team. Justin Jefferson has blossomed into the league's top receivers. And Kirk Cousins, we know, can definitely slump when it comes to big time games. But if he can perform like the Kirk Cousins in normal time games year round, then we could definitely see the Vikings being a playoff contender this year.
Yeah, for sure. I have the exact same record as Hudson. I think the Vikings are going 10-7 this year, and they're going to finish second in the division. And I have them clinching a playoff berth as the 7th seed in the NFC. Dalvin Cook is an X factor, and Justin Jefferson is arguably a top 5 receiver in the NFL right now. In fact, I'd say he's like probably 4. Very, very elite offense, and it just all depends on Kirk Cousins. The way he plays is very important, and their defense, their secondary. I'm interested to see how they develop because it is a very young secondary. Andrew Booth Jr. from Clemson will help a lot, but they got to be sturdy back there, and the pass rush has to be good. That's the only thing I'm worried about with the Vikings, but I think the biggest difference from last year that will help is not having Mike Zimmer. I think it's O'Connell from the Rams, who's the head coach now. He will be he'll be a really good head coach because he's got the offensive mindset that Kirk Cousins, that offense will need. And I agree. I think they'll finish second in the division with the record of 10-7.
I have a very similar record to you guys. I actually have them finishing with the 9-8 record, so like 1 game less. I'm not the biggest on Kirk Cousins, which is why I don't have him finishing 10-7. I'm not like a huge fan. But I think they have a pretty favorable schedule. I think they'll finish second in the division, like you guys said. And I just think that they have a really good offense with Justin Jefferson, who's my boy, obviously. Y'all know I love me some Justin Jefferson. And another addition that they added, not just their coach, but Zadarius Smith. They stole him from the Packers. That's a big addition. That's going to really help their defense. But I don't really trust their secondary because it's so young. But I think they can win some games. I wouldn't be surprised if they won 10-7, but I'm going to go 9-8 for now. And now we can move on. We can move on to the Packers. What do y'all have for the Packers?
I have the Packers winning the division here at 12-5. Not really surprised as Green Bay finishes on top of the NFC North for another year straight. Obviously, the highlight of the Packers offseason was losing their arguably the best receiver in the NFL, Davante Adams, trading him to the Raiders. Now, they did draft the receiver, obviously, was it Christian Watson? Yeah. Christian Watson. But obviously, bringing in Sammy Watkins is not the receiver you would intend to be your number 1 guy going into next season. So it's going to be interesting to see how this Packers offense forms together. Obviously, that running game is going to have to be strong behind Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. The defense, obviously, like you mentioned before, Suhas for the Vikings picking how this team finishes the season, but in such a not very talented division, I think the Packers should be able to win it once again.
I agree. I have the Packers finishing as number 1 in this division. I have them going 13-4, and I actually have them finishing number 1 in the conference. Aaron Rodgers plays really well in the regular season. He knows how to win games, and Davante Adams, losing him will be a big factor, but it doesn't matter. This is Aaron Rodgers we're talking about here. He knows how to win games. He's done it before without Devontae Adams in the past, and he'll just do it again. With this set of wide receivers, he's going to prove to the NFL why he's a top 3 quarterback. I think he's the best quarterback, but you can argue that. And I think the Packers will finish number 1. They have an excellent defense. Jair Alexander is the second best. I'm saying it, the second best corner in the league. And there's no doubt in my mind this team is finishing first in the division. I think they finished first in the conference. And I did forget to mention the Vikings. I think will be 4-2 in the division. I did want to point that out. And I think the Packers will be 5-1 with their lone loss being to the Lions in Week 18.
Let's see. I got the Packers. Wait, Hudson, what do you have?
Packers going 12-5.
I had them going 11-6.
All right.
I was debating 12-5. I have them going 11-6. I think losing Devontae Adams will be pretty big, but I think they can make that up. Christian Watson is very fast. Like, he's a very speedy receiver out of North Dakota State. He'll help for sure. And Aaron Rodgers is still there, obviously. As much as I hate the man, he's one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best in the NFL. So they're going to win a lot of games. They're going to be the best team in the division. And, they're going to be really good. So, 11-6 for me. All right, let's move on to the Chicago Bears. What do you guys have for them?
Oh, my bad. I think the Bears will be one of the worst teams in football with a record of 3-14. Obviously, we're not good last year at all. Finally made a decision that everybody was waiting for, firing Matt Nagy, bringing in Matt Eberflus, something like that. I think it was the Colts defensive coordinator last year. The players seem to like him, which is a good thing, obviously, with their first year coming in at head coach. Like I said, was not a good football team last year, and sucked that they didn't have their first round pick after trading up to get Justin Fields with the Giants last year. And now you're left losing Allen Robinson. Darnell Mooney is your top guy. But after that, I think your second guy is Velus Jones, who's the rookie out of Tennessee, I want to say. And obviously with that 3rd or 4th round rookie coming in at wide receiver number 2 is not going to be great. David Montgomery is looking to be that lead running back in Chicago. The defense is not looking very strong. And I think this team is going to be looking to land one of the top picks in the 2023 draft.
I completely agree. But this is going to be the worst team in the league, I think. Actually, second to worst team. My bad. Actually, I don't even know. Third to worst team, in my opinion. And I have the Bears going 1-16. And you're probably like, Tejas, that's not going to happen. Yeah, it's probably not. But when I made my predictions, I think the Bears are going 1-16. This is one of the worst constructed teams in the NFL. Like, I don't even think, like, this is a terrible team. Other than Justin Fields and David Montgomery, and Mooney, that offense is putrid. Their O-line is so trash. Justin Fields is going to be running for his life again. And that defense, don't even get me started on that defense. It is so bad. Eddie Jackson and guys like Eddie Jackson are just going to quit. They're going to quit because of how bad this defense is. And they lost Akeem Hicks. They lost Khalil Mack. They traded him away. It's not looking good. I'm not sure where I had them winning one game, but like I don't see the Bears winning a game like more than 1 or 2 games. Like, this is a trash team.
I'm with Hudson. I got 3-14. 1-16 is a bit extreme. I'm not gonna. I didn't.
It is
I did
extreme.
not expect you to have 1-16, bro. I hate the Bears, bro. I hate the Bears, but I love Darnell Mooney, so I think he's gonna have a breakout season. Might sneak his way into the Pro Bowl if he gets some receptions up in his yards and stuff. David Montgomery's good. I think Fields is a good quarterback. I just think their O-line is terrible and their defense is terrible as well. So I think their schedule, I don't think it's the most favorable. So I think that they're going to go 3-14. if they went like 4-13 or 2-12, I mean 2-15, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, I have 3-14 for the Bears. And then moving on to my team, the Lions. I'm interested to see what you guys have for them. What do you guys have?
I have the Lions going 5-12, and I'm gonna be honest. I was debating whether to have them 6-11, but I felt like that was a bit too much. The Lions definitely did improve this offseason, bringing in what receiver in free agency from the
DJ
um, Shark from Jacksonville. Yep. And then obviously nobody really expecting them to trade up to number 12 or 13. What was it? To land Jameson Williams, the speedy receiver, who I'm not too sure if he's going to be ready for the start of the season, but there's no really rush to play him, as he should be in play and in full effect by midseason. And then obviously the big one, number 2 overall, Aiden Hutchinson out of Michigan. Very excited to see how he can transform this Lions defense. Dan Campbell was a fantastic coach last year, especially for such a bad team. And I think if there's a guy in the league who you're going to want to turn a team around, Dan Campbell is definitely a guy at the top of that list you're going to want. So Lions, obviously not some type of playoff contender out of nowhere, but I do expect this team to improve this season, and I can definitely see them getting up to 5 wins.
I'm actually going to go a little bit higher than that. I think the Lions can win. They can pull off some upsets this year. I have them going 3-3 in the division, and I have them finishing 8-9. Look, I think this team has a foundation. Dan Campbell proved to me last year that he knows how to coach a team. I didn't know who exactly he was. I knew he was in New Orleans, but I didn't really know who he was. But this team will run through a wall for Dan Campbell. And if I have it right here, okay. So I have the Lions beating Washington, Seattle. I have them beating the Dolphins, as well as the Bears, the Giants, Jacksonville, Detroit. Yeah, so I have them beating Jacksonville, and then I have them beating Chicago too. So yeah, and yeah, Hudson, go ahead and cry. I have them beating Miami.
Wow.
Because I have them beating Miami. I know you're probably like, what in the world, Tejas? But look, I think this Lions team is better than what people are giving them credit for. I actually do. They are a very good team, but they're not going to be in the playoffs. So, but this is a good year to make a good step. Dan Campbell's going to establish that culture a little bit more, and they're gonna be a playoff team next year, I think, if they get the right QB in the draft.
Hey, I can't lie. I had them finishing 8-9. It was between 7-10 and 8-9, but I went with 8-9. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I really like what we did in the offseason. Aiden Hutchinson, no brainer. Was the best player on the board, probably the best player in the draft. And then Jameson Williams, who I really, really loved. We got him. I think he might be ready by week 4 or 5, Hudson, somewhere around then. But and then DJ Chark. I think our receiving core, when it's fully healthy with St. Brown, Chark, and Jameson Williams, those 3, and you still have some more guys down there. TJ Hawkinson, top tight end. DeAndre Swift's gonna have a really good season. So the offensive line is one of the best in the NFL. So I think the only weakness is the QB, which I think Jared Goff is. I think he's a solid, steady QB. I don't think he's anything special, but I don't think he's as atrocious as a lot of people think he is. He can manage a game pretty well. He went to the Super Bowl with the Rams. He knows how to play. Defense was a big weakness last year, but we drafted a ton of defensive players. If Jeff Okudah stays healthy, I still believe in him to do something. I think his injuries has been a big part of why he had struggled so far. But we had some studs like Oruwariye last year, who had 7 picks and stuff. I think we'll be pretty solid. I think our schedule is also a lot easier than a lot of these other teams. So I have us going 8-9. I think that's where we'll end up. Probably not in the playoffs, but I really like what we're doing for the future. So 8-9 for the Lions. And then, that wraps up the North.